Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome to another edition of the Raw Truth Q&A with the IBFP. Deontay Wilder is garbage truck juice edition. And look, let's just dig right into it. The first question comes from Jay Abdullah, and he states, what do you feel about what Mark Breland said about Deontay Wilder in his recent interview? And when I break down that interview, you see that Mark Breland is plainly and outrightly calling Deontay Wilder a hype job, overrated, garbage truck juice, not focused, not disciplined, and unskilled. These are all the things Mark Breland made abundantly clear, and these are things I've been saying for years. I mean, look at it like this. He stated that Deontay Wilder doesn't jump rope, he doesn't hit the speed bag, he doesn't hit the heavy bag. Deontay Wilder doesn't have a jab. I mean, come on. I mean, the guy doesn't do anything. He's not even a boxer. If he doesn't do the basics, he doesn't want to put in the work. He doesn't want to put in the time. And this was a man whose trainer was over a decade with Deontay Wilder. So if anybody knows Wilder, it's Mark Breland. I mean, let's just be real. He even says that his only good quality win was Luis Ortiz. And this is a Luis Ortiz that was 40,000 years old with high blood pressure. So at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder is what I've been saying all along. He's garbage truck juice. The guy was an absolute hype job. People were pumping him up. He had no skills. He would have been food for any other top heavyweight. If he would have fought Ruiz, White, Povetkin, Parker, any of these top heavyweights, he would have got done in pretty bad, because this is a guy who's never fought a legitimate heavyweight who was in his prime, who was old enough or dangerous enough to get him out of there. Luis Ortiz was simply not that man. He was a 40,000-year-old ancient alien mummy. And at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder even stated, in the heavyweight division, you don't need skills. This is the cause of his demise, because he only wants to rely on power. Even Tyson Fury stated that this man is a one-trick pony. How easy it is to game plan for a guy who only has one shot, one move. This is the Deontay Wilder who looked like a killer, because he was fighting grocery store clerks, Walmart associates, McDonald's drive-thru employees, garage door openers. I mean, the guy was facing nobodies. Fight after fight after fight, looking like a killer. I mean, at the end of the day, Tyson Fury is even being hyped up off of this garbage. At the end of the day, this guy said he's the greatest fighter that ever lived after beating Deontay Wilder. You're not the greatest fighter that ever lived after beating a hype job, a one-trick pony. Tyson Fury needs to slap himself for being stupid. But let's keep it going. Avi Bulldog stated, why hasn't Tank Davis fought a top 10 135-pound fighter? It's because this guy is protected. Tank Davis is protected. He's one of the most protected fighters in boxing, maybe the most protected fighter in boxing. I mean, what dangerous fight has he really been put in? None. I mean, if you really look at it, especially at 135, they're not going to take a chance for this guy to get beat. This guy is all talk and no action. I mean, this guy has called out everybody from Loma to Manny to Josh Taylor to Tevin Farmer and fought nobody. I mean, this is the same dude who said he'd fight Lomachenko in 2022, but then right before that, he stated it's time for him and Lomachenko to make the fight. What the hell are you talking about, Stank Davis? We call him Stank because we can smell the ducking. And at the end of the day, we've seen Tank Davis. This is a guy, if you look at his last two fights, the resume tells it all. What dangerous fight has he taken? This guy ended up facing a washed out 40-year-old with a torn Achilles in a Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, and it took 11 plus rounds to get the guy out of there. That's garbage. And then in his most recent fight, he moved down in weight and had Leo Santa Cruz move up in a weight, a guy with no defense and no power. This guy was looking for a money grab showcase fight, cherry pick, and that's all it is. Anybody who believes different is obviously a moron, idiot, and a dummy. But let's keep it going. Boxing Junkie states, do you think Ryan Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao is actually going to happen? Absolutely. And anybody saying that this fight is a sham or anything like that is just a hater, because at the end of the day, Manny Pacquiao has earned the right to face whoever he wants, and Ryan Garcia is not holding up any division. He's not a world champion, so he's not hurting anybody by this. And the fact that Ryan Garcia wants to go after a legend, a great, and get experience in a real fight, you gotta respect it. See, it was Manny Pacquiao who wanted an exhibition fight, not Ryan Garcia. And not only that, Manny Pacquiao's own management and promoter, Sean Gibbons, stated that the talks are ongoing and hopefully things will work out. So this fight has a legitimate chance of happening. So a lot of people are just hating on Ryan Garcia, hating on Manny Pacquiao. But at the end of the day, you can't argue with the great and the guy who wants to be great. But let's keep it going. The next question comes from 868 Boxing Channel, and he states, is AJ ducking Usyk? I mean, Usyk is his man, though, and he can't get the AJ fight. Why not just beat Usyk and get him out of the way? Obviously, Anthony Joshua wants to go for greatness and being undisputed. that has to take priority over anything else. And Anthony Joshua's not afraid to face a mandatory. He's done it time and time again. He defends his belts, unlike Tyson Fury. So at the end of the day, you got to give Anthony Joshua all the credit in the world. And even the WBO is okay with, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fighting next, as long as they face the winner of Oslander Usyk and Joe Joyce right after. And that's not a problem, because Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are on board with that. And then at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua stated that his biggest career goal was being undisputed. So you have to respect a fighter for going for greatness. And absolutely in no way it's a duck if you're facing another elite fighter who's also a world champion. These guys are absolute haters if they believe that. But let's keep it going. The last question comes from Gilbert Vargas, and he states, what are your top 5 boxers of all time, any era? And then, this list is very subjective, so everybody's going to have their own. But these are my personal top 5 fighters of all time in any era. This is mine. So, fanboys, slap yourself if you don't like it, because it's my personal opinion. I have to go with Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest I've ever seen. Sugar Ray Leonard, Chavez Sr., Roy Jones Jr., and Pernell Whitaker. All of these guys were great elite fighters. All of these guys were special. And I believe all of these guys transcend generations. I believe all of these guys are special, one in a lifetime type of fighters. But once again, another edition with the Raw Truth Q&A with the IBFP.